I got up at 6:15 a.m. We're headed on the road now. It took us a little bit longer to get out of the house because we've decided to have our bags transported for the last 3 days. So that feels like Christmas that we're not going to be carrying those. We just have little canvas bags with like food, water, random things that wouldn't fit in our backpack. So we're walking around with a random assortment of things, but at least it's not our backpacks. We walked for a little bit less than an hour, and then we stopped at a cafe and ate breakfast, and then we've been walking for a while since then, and this is our first break on the trail. We've walked our last hour-ish, and now we're headed into town. We're all checked in and we've learned from our past mistakes. A lot of places here are closed between lunch and dinner, and normally we get in, we collapse, we take a shower, we just generally get the stink of the Camino off of us, but then by the time we're ready to go eat, all the places are closed. So we haven't done any of that. We're just heading straight to the restaurant. And because we had our bags transported for us today, we were a little bit nervous and we both wanted to lay eyes on our bags and make sure they got there, and they did, all in one piece. While we were eating lunch, my mom found a hotel that has a hot spring in it. So we are headed there. That is our evening plan. I figure after almost 2 weeks of walking, it is going to be well deserved. To recap today, we woke up. It took us kind of a minute to get out of the house because we had to deal with the bag transfer and then adding things to our tote bag. So it took a minute to get sorted out, but we got it all sorted out. And then we walked about 3 miles. We stopped and we got like a ham and egg sandwich. It was pretty good. And then we walked another like 7 miles. So around 10 miles we stopped, we ate our apples, we kept walking, and then I don't exactly remember when we checked the time, but when we did, we had less than an hour left. So I feel like I noticed a huge difference not carrying our packs. I felt so much better. My feet still hurt, but they felt worlds better than before. And then after we dropped our stuff off, we immediately went and got food, and it was delicious. And then we came back and I worked a little bit, and then we went to the thermal pool, which was so lovely, and the jets were amazing on our sore bodies. And then we got coffee and pastries for dinner, and we walked around a little bit. So it was a lovely day today, and the weather has been so nice. Good morning. We are up and out the door. Today is one of our shorter days, so I think we're gonna stop at a cafe before we even start walking. Pretty overcast today. We felt a few sprinkles. We're hoping it holds out until we get to where we're going. The rain has definitely picked up. It's not so bad that I'm like, we need to pull over, we need to sit somewhere. I think almost everyone we're passing is wearing a raincoat, so I think I'm gonna be a follower and put mine on as well. Okay, this is the stamp that we got. I didn't take a video of it, but it's cute. We walked and talked for the last half an hour with a girl that we've met up with a few times. I think the first day we met her was day number 2, and now we're making it to our hostel. We checked in and we're doing the same thing as yesterday. We found a place and we are headed straight to food. ran to the grocery store and we got our same yogurts, the strawberry and the peach that we got some point in some town somewhere. I don't really remember, but I'm hyped. To recap the day, I woke up around 6 and we were out of the house around 7, which I feel like is pretty typical for us. We walked about 5 minutes and then stopped at the pastry shop we had eaten the night before, and we had this really good apple thing. And then we walked for a little bit and then we sat down at another cafe. I didn't eat anything, but my mom had a croissant. And then we kept walking. The walk really wasn't that bad. I honestly think it was like a pretty short day. It was pretty overcast though, and it did rain for a little bit, but I didn't get soaked or anything. And honestly, the rain was pretty pleasant. It was like a warm rain. The frustrating part was when we got in and we ate food. We tried to order something, but we don't speak Spanish, so I think we were a little bit confusing. And we didn't get the food we thought we got, so we like sat at the table and waited for our second food to come, and it never came. And my mom and I were both falling asleep. You know the thing you do where you're like, we have doing that. So I'm like, oh, I probably slept for like 5 minutes sitting at a table at a restaurant. And then we flagged the waitress down and she's like, oh no, you're not getting that food. And we're like, okay, we're just gonna go. So we paid and left, walked a little bit down the street, and then we got other food. And after that, we walked around, we got affogato, which was really good. And then we went to a grocery store, and then we basically came back and I just worked all evening. So nothing notable to report in the evening, but the day was pretty fun, and my mom and I are obsessed with affogato now. Good morning. We are up and out of the house. This is our last day on the Camino, and honestly, I'm trying not to think about it because I'm really gonna miss it. I am excited to sleep in tomorrow. I woke up this morning around like 6 and I was like, Selena, tomorrow you can sleep in until 8 a.m. That'll be nice, but overall I think I'm really gonna miss it. Stopped for our first break of the day. There's definitely many more people, so it feels kind of crowded. We're hoping to eat some food and maybe get away from the crowd a little bit, or position ourselves like in between two big groups so it feels less crowded. This is our second break. We ended up at the Chapel of St. Mary Magdalene. I rubbed my feet and then the sun came out, so now it's a little bit warm. We made it about 5 minutes down the road and then we stopped and got pastries, but they look delicious. Okay, we stopped because we saw a really cute pony, and then the owner came out and his shirt was like this, and we thought maybe he had lemons, but he gave us all these apples. It's like 10 apples, so I'm really excited to eat them. Okay, after actually eating it, I don't think it's an apple. My mom's dying laughing. She sent a silly photo of me, but instead of sending it to the group chat, she sent it to the hostel. But upon eating this, I feel like it's maybe more of a plum, but like an interesting colored plum. It's like a plum or a peach, not so much an apple. We have an hour left before we officially finish our first Camino, but we're stuck in the city, so we're hoping to get out of it and have our last little bit be a forest walk. We made it to Santiago and we didn't quite realize it. I actually think we walked by the cathedral, but we have our directions in to head to our albergue, which apparently is like 45 minutes away from the cathedral where we get our Compostela and where we go to Pilgrim's Mass. So we walk by this awesome building, take a ton of photos, and I'm like, we've got to be close. And then I was looking online and I was like, I think that was it. So we're gonna finish walking to our albergue, drop our stuff off, and then circle back around and head back to where we just were. We're about 10 minutes out from checking into our albergue for the day. We're gonna check in, get ready, and head back to town. So our Camino isn't finished until we hit the cathedral and we realize we've hit it. We thought it was just a really cool monastery, but it's kind of nice. It feels like we discovered it. I was like, oh, this is a cool building. Yeah, it's the cathedral you've been walking to for 2 weeks. It better be cool. It is exactly 3 p.m. and we have officially arrived at our albergue. We checked our bags and made it here, which means we are 3 for 3 on transporting our bags, which means my mom did a perfect job scheduling it for us. We are headed back to the cathedral. I think our game plan is to get our compostelas, get some food, and then head to Pilgrim's Mass, and then go to bed. Okay, this is our first sighting of the cathedral now that we actually know what it is and what we're looking for. Oh my gosh! Our first stop is our Compostela. So I finished my pilgrim passport. I also got my Compostela and my name is in Latin. And then finally we have my certificate of distance. So you can see how long I walked, when I started, where I started from. Next stop is the cafeteria we hope is open for food. We're headed to the cathedral about an hour early, but we figure we could hang out outside and we could just watch and see how busy it is and then go in whenever we feel like a crowd is forming. Okay, let me show you the cathedral. We have been walking 2 weeks to get to. I promise it was worth it. It is so pretty.
Y se quiera parpadear.
Today was my favorite day on the Camino. We got up and we were out of the house probably a little bit before 7, so not as early as I initially thought we would leave, but it still wasn't bad. We had to turn around like 5 minutes in because my mom forgot her water, but I was like, you know what, at least it was only 5 minutes in and not like half an hour or an hour in. The actual walk wasn't bad. I feel like in the beginning there were like a ton of people around. It was really crowded, but after we stopped at a cafe, I don't think it was nearly as crowded. And then later we stopped for a minute and I sat, and then immediately we stopped and we got the best pistachio pastry I've ever had in my whole life. It was seriously so good. And then we kept walking, and then that farmer gave us the Spanish plums, and honestly that's like maybe my favorite part of the whole Camino. I don't know, there was just something about it that was like so human experience, you know, like we're not speaking the same language at all, but he's like, oh, here, have these plums, and we're like, okay, thank you. I did that. There was some music in the woods that I also enjoyed. We got in, we messed up and we didn't realize that we passed the cathedral. Then we went to our albergue and we got all checked in there, and then after that we went back. We got our Compostela. People on Reddit said it took kind of a minute, but ours went super fast. And then we had to go to a few places for dinner. The first place we went, they weren't serving dinner, and then we were just kind of looking and nothing kind of looked good. So it took a minute, but the dinner we had was good. I had octopus for the first time, and I don't mind it, except when it like looks like a tentacle, so I had to give that one to my mom. I was like, do you want to trade? Yours looks less like a tentacle. We ran into some people that we've been walking the Camino with and kind of seeing since day 1 or day 2, so it was fun to like see each other in Santiago. We went to the mass. It was pretty crowded. We got there half an hour early, but like still pretty crowded. The mass was lovely. It was in Spanish, but they said a handful of things in English, which was fun. And then we walked around. We touched what I think is St. James remains, but someone might want to fact check me on that. I'm not sure. And then we got a blessing from the priest. I was like, okay. And then when we walked out, there was this whole big orchestra performance with this guy that could really sing. And there was this huge crowd and they knew the songs he was singing, so everyone was singing along. So that was like such a cool experience. That may have been, okay, that and the farmer, my favorite parts of the Camino. And then there were a few performers and like just people dancing in the streets, so it was lovely. And honestly, I have a million thoughts on the Camino, but I'm so sad it's over. It has been one of the best experiences of my whole life.